Right now on AABJ's In Contact, Election 2024.
Vice presidential candidate Senator J.D. Vance and Governor Tim Walz appealed to voters in a final race-off before Election Day. Both campaigns are in the home stretch as the race for the White House leads through Georgia.
Plus, recovery efforts continue across the Peach State as residents work to rebuild in the wake of Hurricane Helene.
And what's cooking? We're hearing from an Atlanta chef who's sharing his tips and tricks as we head into the holidays. AABJ's In Contact starts now.
Be informed, you gotta know what's going on in our community. So together we can make a change, you and me. Yeah, be in contact.
Welcome to In Contact, the Atlanta Association of Black Journalists award-winning broadcast. Thank you for joining us today. This episode is titled Atlanta Rising and Uniting. I'm Kennedy Felton.
And I'm Tyrik Wynn. We have lots of news you can use around Metro Atlanta. First, Election Day is November 5th, and millions of Georgians are preparing to cast their ballots. This month, the vice presidential candidates made their pitch to Americans during their only scheduled debate in New York. The debate between Ohio Senator J.D. Vance and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz noteworthy for its calm tone, with both candidates focused on policy rather than personal attacks. Vance criticized Vice President Kamala Harris on border security, while Walz took aim for former President Donald Trump over abortion rights. A notable moment came when Walz called out Vance's false claims about Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio. Vance avoided directly answering questions about Trump's loss in the 2020 election, leading to a tense exchange. Despite disagreements, the debate remained civil.
And moving on to cleanup efforts after Hurricane Helene, communities across the state are still recovering from the storm's impacts weeks later. The powerful hurricane left more than 230 people dead in its destructive 500-mile path across Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas, and Tennessee. Helene moved into Georgia as a Category 2 hurricane, bringing heavy rain and powerful wind gusts. According to CNN, Atlanta saw the highest record of flooding in a 48-hour period. Several people had to be rescued from their residences, and Augusta saw the most flooding in the state at around 12 to 15 inches. Downed trees can still be seen throughout the city, and storm recovery efforts are ongoing.
And closer to home, a TV reporter jumped into her hero mode as Helene moved through the metro. Fox weather meteorologist Bob Van Dillen was reported live from a flooded Atlanta neighborhood when he heard a cry for help. According to Fox News, a woman accidentally drove into rising floodwaters and became trapped inside her car. Van Dillen's live shot became a rescue mission as he waded into chest-deep water to save her, recalling the rescue. Van Dillen told Fox and Friends, "You could hear screaming. You could hear it during my live shot, and so I just dropped everything and waded in." He put the woman on his back and walked them both to safety.
I mean, there are still some really good people out here. Would you have done something like that?
Ooh.
Chest
I feel like,
water.
I know, yeah, it definitely would have been a little scary, but I felt like, you know, if I felt like a hero in the moment, I definitely would have did it.
Yeah, because I'm glad that they are both okay. It is very dangerous trudging through floodwaters. They do advise against that, but luckily he was able to get her out of there, and they are both safe. So good
stuff.
for them. Yeah, for sure. Now, Metro Atlantans were faced with another environmental crisis. Residents in Conyers had to be evacuated after a chemical fire at a BioLab warehouse in Rockdale County. This was on September 29th. The plant manufactures pool and spa care products. A sprinkler malfunction sparked a chemical reaction and small fire on the roof, sending plumes of smoke and hazardous chemicals into the air. The blaze was initially contained but reignited hours later, prompting officials to again order evacuations. In the days after, residents were told to shelter in place, and some roads, including I-20, were closed. The chemical plume drifted to surrounding counties, with residents reporting the strong smell of chlorine. Multiple lawsuits have been filed against the company. BioLab confirmed there were no injuries and said it is working with local officials to address the situation.
Jimmy Carter makes history, becoming the first former president in U.S. history to turn 100. Carter, who entered hospice care in February of 2023, celebrated with loved ones in his hometown of Plains, Georgia on October 1st. According to AP News, around 25 members of his family filled his home to participate in the festivities. They enjoyed cupcakes on the front lawn while World War II planes flew overhead. Family members said the 39th president fulfilled his wish to cast his vote for Vice President Kamala Harris. Man, that's so awesome happy birthday to him.
It is. I remember I started my job in March of 2023, so a month after he had already entered hospice, and they were making preparations, like they were ready. So to see him surpass all these expectations is amazing. Happy birthday to him.
Yeah, definitely a blessing.
It is. Well, October marked the start of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and Atlanta is making strides to a world without the disease. The Susan G. Komen, Georgia More Than Pink Walk is an annual fundraising event that brings the local community together to spread awareness. The walk goes beyond raising awareness by providing support and resources for those impacted by breast cancer, according to the organization's website. The family-friendly event took place October 26th at Lenox Square. Attendees enjoyed food, music, activities, and more. To learn more or contribute to the cause, visit Komen.org.
Still ahead on AABJ's In Contact, what's on the menu? Tianna Faulkner joins us for an interview with a local chef to discuss his career and how he stays creative in the kitchen. We'll be right back. Welcome back to In Contact. This is a broadcast opportunity for all.
That's right. So let's check in with our colleague, Tianna Faulkner.
Tianna is conducting the interview for this episode, spotlighting an Atlanta chef who's sharing his tips and tricks for time in the holidays.
Thank you, Tyrik and Kennedy. My name is Tianna Faulkner, and today we have a very special guest, Chef Vinny Phillips, a self-described culinary nerd and executive chef. Thank you, Chef Vinny, for joining us today to talk about your career and life as a culinary artist. Let's jump right in. So talk about your culinary career and experience, how you began, where you are today, and where you see yourself in the future.
Okay, well, I started out by way of theater.
Okay.
And I realized that I was started in theater, thought I was going to take New York by storm, and then realized that it was the culinary that I wanted to get into. So really got into that. About 9 months or so later, I ran into this opportunity that took me overseas for about a year and a half. I was in Hong Kong.
Okay, great.
Worked with this chef out of San Francisco. Then from there, moved to Chicago and lived and worked in Chicago. Went to culinary school in Chicago. There had a great experience. Worked there for about 10 years.
Okay. So talk about some of the food trends that you're seeing today as we go into the holiday season, from dishes to desserts or beverages.
Well, one thing I have noticed and I really like is you're seeing street food popping up everywhere. And
Okay.
I really like that aesthetic because it really gives you the insight of what different cultures are, and I like that the different ingredient, the different method and technique as far as the cooking method and technique is concerned. So, and it brings the dining public into a different realm.
Okay.
Yes.
So talk about some of the tips and tricks that you can share regarding hosting and cooking for family that'll be easier during the holiday season. You know, we're cooking now for big families, big parties. You know, what tips and tricks do you have for that?
Well, first thing is less is more.
Okay.
Sometimes people really, around the holidays, they want to do it up, and they get overexcited and they overthink. It, and then next thing you know, they've got this tin-headed monster that they're trying to wrestle. To where that's where I say less is more. Keep it simple.
Okay.
Don't overdo it, and just keep it simple. The kiss method. Have you heard of that? Keep it simple, stupid.
Oh, okay. Keep it simple and stupid.
Yeah.
Okay. So describe your work style and how you stay creative in the kitchen.
Well, let me see. My work style, I'm pretty laid back. I kind of let the artistic side of me come out naturally. So I try not to get in my own way. And that way, I'm more comfortable. And when I just get out of my own way, just let things, just let it flow, let the juices flow. And, 9 times out of 10, when it's clicking, and so when that thing is clicking there, you have to recognize that and just, let it flow.
Let it flow. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you're kind of like a laid back chef.
Yeah, pretty laid back. I mean, there's all, it does get intense sometimes, because you're only as good as your last service.
Okay.
And so you want to make sure that everything is, you dotted all the I's and crossed every T. And so there is, it does get intense.
It's intense. Wow. So how does food cost factor in creating your menus, and how do you control the quality of the food that your customers receive?
Wow. Yeah. Food cost is a big thing now. I mean, it just goes down to budget basically.
Okay.
And that's very important. It's it does come into play in designing my menus.
Okay. Yes.
Because not all my clients, can afford, say, filet mignon or prime rib,
Okay.
But, that you have to be creative, and understand, the product that you're dealing with. So,
okay.
So there is alternatives to, if you want something like a filet mignon, but, you don't have that budget, we can, we can work with that. And, so that's just, that's the important part about knowing your product.
Okay, knowing your product, that's
yes,
great.
Knowing the product.
You being a executive chef now, I see how you have a lot of experience in that area. So from a chef's perspective, describe customer service and, what do you think is most important when serving your customers?
Well, most important is attention to detail and being able to anticipate your client's needs.
Okay.
Either your client or if it's your guest, whatever the situation may be. But so that's understanding your environment,
Okay.
and understand, why is this person here? They're here to have a dining experience.
Okay.
So what does that entail? So there's just a myriad of things that goes on the checklist as far as what does that entail? A good dining experience for a guest, and just making sure that you think about that before your guest does. That's very, very high. Very, very high on the list as far as.
Got it. So where can people go to get your food, and how can they find you on social media?
Oh, okay. Well, my company is called More Than a Microwave. You can find that on Instagram at nerdchef _Vinny on Instagram.
Nerdchef _Vinny at Instagram. And they can, what did you say your restaurant business was again?
It's More Than a Microwave.
More Than a Microwave.
It's a small catering company. I do very, very small numbers, 35 and under.
Okay.
And it's very one-on-one. I like to work with my clients, make them feel like they have just as much influence on the menu and the event as I do.
That's good to know when people are investing in businesses.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I want them to feel, like, hey, they had an integral part in designing this or creating this event, and whatnot. So we do like the small bespoke catering. Also, getting into personal one-on-one culinary education.
Great.
So
okay. Well, we here at In Contact wish you all the best. Thank you so much, and Tyrik and Kennedy, back to you.
Thank you, Tianna. Well, still ahead on AABJ's In Contact, we're recapping some trending topics you may have missed.
Yeah, our colleague Vivian Gilbert will join us with a few stories that has set the internet abuzz this month. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to In Contact. A lot is happening in and around the city, but our colleague Vivian Gilbert is here to get us all caught up. Hi, Vivian.
Thanks, Kenny and Tyrik. I'm Vivian Gilbert. Here's the 411. First, a major loss for the sports world and the city of Atlanta. Dikembe Mutombo, an NBA Hall of Famer and the league's first global ambassador, died September 30th. He was 58 years old. Mutombo had brain cancer, which was diagnosed in 2022, according to his family. The basketball legend was receiving treatment here in Atlanta. Throughout his 18-season career, Mutombo played with 6 NBA teams, including the Atlanta Hawks, from 1996 until 2001. Off the court, Mutombo made his mission to serve and improve the quality of life for those in his home country, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver said, Dikembe Mutombo was simply larger than life. On a lighter note, music legend Stevie Wonder stopped in Atlanta during his Sing a Song as We Fix Our Nation's Broken Heart tour. He performed at the State Farm Arena on October 19th. The 10-city tour made stops in other swing states, including Michigan and Pennsylvania, to call for unity and social change. Lastly, communities across the metro will celebrate the nation's heroes this Veterans Day. Here are a few upcoming events to check out. The 43rd Annual Georgia Veterans Day Parade is Saturday, November 9th at 11 a.m. in Midtown Atlanta. Can't make it to the parade? The Atlanta History Center will host a watch party at its Midtown campus. The Georgia Veterans Day Association will also host Veterans Day Expo on November 9th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. in Midtown. In Marietta, the American Legion will host its 10th annual Veterans Day 5K run on November 9th. Marietta's Veterans Day Parade will take place November 11th at 11 a.m. That's all for now. Kennedy and Tyrik, back to you.
Thanks, Vivian. Well, that does it for us.
Remember to stay updated with In Contact and the Atlanta Association of Black Journalists on social media. Here's a list of our meeting dates for the remainder of the year. We meet at WSB TV Studios every second Saturday of each month.
We appreciate you all for joining us.
And a special thanks to our partners at AIB Network for helping to make this broadcast possible. We'll see you back here next time.